So now I just got off work. I'm sleeping on the couch, waiting to confront my husband. The kids wake up first. I put on a movie, give them some breakfast, and I walk back to the bedroom. He's very disheveled, aren't we all when we first wake up? But he just looked so disgusting that, ugh. But I was still his wife, and I really just wanted to get the F out of there. So I had worked on this confrontation from him to solidify that we were getting divorced. I wanted the divorce so bad that this was the pinnacle moment. And he woke up, and this is what I read to him. Word for word, I read it. Open your heart to me. I do not say this to condemn, for I have said before, you are in my heart. Great is my boldness of speech toward you, but I am filled with comfort. I am exceedingly joyful in all our tribulation. That was a lie, but I felt like it worked. For indeed, when we came to be married, our bodies had no rest, but we were troubled on every side. Outside were conflicts, inside were fears. Nevertheless, God, who comforts the downcast, comforts us. Although I say this to you, I do not do it for the sake of who had done wrong, nor for the sake of who suffered wrong, but that my care for you in the sight of God might appear to you. 2 Corinthians 7, verse 12 through, or 2 through 12. I speak this with love. And then I said, what is the Dayton Swim Club? And when I tell you the fall of this man that I witnessed, the fall of this narcissistic abuser, just started crying. He was trying to tell me, oh, the women there are so ugly. I never did anything. They would have just like a buffet. I was just meeting people, blah, 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 blah. I was like, dude, look, we've been married for 5 years. It sucks. I don't want to spend the next 20 years trying to figure out if this is going to work. I know now that it's not. I'm young enough to start over. Let's just end this. And he agreed. He was like, we'll make this about the kids. We'll be friends, and we'll just, we'll do this. We'll do this right. And I was like, cool, thanks. I felt the hugest weight lift from my shoulders. I was going to be free. I was going to be free of this man, and I couldn't wait. But that peace that I had was short-lived, because as horrible of a husband that he was a horrible ex-husband as well. And it was just, I don't know how I survived. I don't know how I'm here today. I just don't know. You can see the date. It was October 25th. It was right before Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we were discussing, different plans for Thanksgiving and Christmas and whatnot. And it was about, I want to say it was about 4 weeks later. It was like a month later that something snapped in him. And he confronts me and says, yeah, you did catch me cheating. You did catch me at the sex club. But you know what? I've decided, in true narcissistic verbiage, I've decided that I didn't deserve your disrespect. He then tried to do his narcissistic math on me, and he's like, how much does this cost, and how much does insurance cost, and this and that, and that's what I gotta pay for. So you're taking money right out of the kids' mouths. Now they can't go to college, and it's all your fault, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was hard. It was hard to listen to that and not just say, okay, whatever, give in. But I held my ground, and we were divorced 6 months later. We lived together for financial purposes, but I couldn't take anymore, and I lasted probably about, around that time, I lasted maybe about 4 more months. I slowly moved my things out so that he wouldn't notice. I would move clothes that I hadn't worn, some toiletries, some pots and pans, things like that. I didn't have anything. The only thing I took with me was my nightstand and a lamp, and the rest were just boxes of crap, that I took with me. Because I worked nights, I would sleep in the bed during the daytime, and he worked during the day, so he would sleep in the bed on nighttime. But everything ceased. During Christmas, I remember him chasing me around the house. We had a house that you could go through the bedroom, go through the half bath, and then end up in the kitchen, and then go down the hallway where the bedrooms were, and it was just kind of like a big circle. And I remember doing things so that he would stay away from me. Around Christmas time, he was like, "Did you get me anything?" And I was like, "No. Why would I do that? I don't expect anything from you, and it should be mutual." And he was just chasing me around the house in his whitey tighties, just being the nasty, dirty old man that he is. And it was really uncomfortable. I ended up sleeping on the floor in my kids' room, and, just try to use my kids as a safe haven. He did leave me alone there, but it was just really uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. He's just nasty. By the time that March came, I had only at the house a couple items of clothing and some toiletries. Everything else he was going to keep: the couch, the TV, everything. I wanted nothing. And at the time, my best friend was getting married, so we were buying my bridesmaid dress and having lunch, and that day I moved out. We were going to go to the reception hall and start decorating and setting up for everything. And I tried to call my husband to tell him, "Hey, I moved out." But he didn't answer the phone. So I'm with my best friend, and he finally calls me back. And you ever know, like, you have that feeling like they know? I had that feeling that he knew, because I don't know, I can't explain it. But I put him on speakerphone, and I told him I moved out. I'm living with my dad, and we'll figure this out. And he went apeshit. He called me a bad mother. He said I was self-serving. And my best friend is looking at me as I'm trying to tell him, "Hey, we're going to figure this out." She's like, "You are not a bad mother." She's like, "You are the best mother, and, don't believe anything he says." But he continued to rip me piece by piece on the phone. I stood my ground. I tried to remain as quiet as possible and just tell him we'll figure it out. And he was like, I want the kids. I want them tonight. And I was like, okay. And he's like, I want them all week. Okay. I was just trying to do whatever I needed to do to just get out of this situation. Later on that night, he calls me to tell me that I can keep the kids that night, but that he wanted them in the morning. I said, okay. In his most arrogant manner, he told me that he is praying to God that God does something to me that takes me out of my kids' lives forever. I have never been so hurt in my life. Like, I would rather you punch me in the face than to say something like that to me. But he said it. He said it. And I cried. That night I went to my best friend's rehearsal dinner and put on a brave face as best as I could.